Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here in my sewing room of sewingness. This is not a tutorial. I always feel the need to find videos of other people making similar costumes to see what research they did and what problems they ran into. So I want to join the community, put this out here for any Sarah Sandersons who are looking for their own answers and their own inspiration. About a year ago, around the same time, I decided to make a Sarah Sanderson dress and then didn't do it. I remembered her this year and I thought, no, I've got too much on my plate, but I watched Hocus Pocus the other night and now I'm really itching for a Sarah Sanderson costume. So I'm going to try and pull it off. I'm just going to kind of show you what I have and where I'm starting. This is the pattern that I bought last year. It's not perfect, but I can make adjustments. Adjusting patterns is something I do all the time and I really enjoy. This is very much my style of costume making. This is not a completely accurate cosplay. This is within my budget and with what I have available to me, my version of Sarah Sanderson. Accuracy is not the goal. It's a feeling. I looked at the original costume when I went to D23. I took a bunch of pictures with my cell phone and I really got a good look at it so that everything felt right without me driving myself crazy. For the actual movement of the dress, I watched a lot of footage of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party Spectacular show. That costume is a great replica with minor tweaks made so that she can dance and move. So I started with my corset. This corset calls for 4 7/8 yards of 1/4 inch wide featherweight boning. You know how expensive boning is? This is 100 cable ties. I think this is like $5. I already own this, but I don't have a lot, maybe half a yard tops. So I found this at Joann today, which is very similar. The dots are bigger, they're further apart, but for the sake of a corset and the sake of a lining, you're never gonna know. The way that her skirt is constructed, she has the purple, I'm going to refer to it as a bustle because it kind of stops at the front of her legs. This purple bustle with these ruffles on it, folded like this. It's extremely heavy, but it is not a heavy fabric. So I'm looking forward to using this one. This is my underlayer. It's this green sort of stretch knit. I feel like that's going to be really comfortable. Her, what I'm going to call the apron, is this muslin and then this great red fabric that I really like, which I thought I had found something similar, but I guess I imagined it, which I do. So I'm going to have to find that. Avery found this beautiful purple fabric that I'm going to use for her sleeves. It looks like it'd be very delicate, but it has this great mesh underneath, making sure that these don't move and come loose. My last fabric is her shorts. We found this really great tan textured fabric to give it that extra, I don't know, like it's a little more of a garment versus underwear. I'm gonna start cutting some stuff out. I'm gonna start sewing. I will be back later, whether I'm in the same super cute brand new sweater or not. I will not know. Just depends on how I feel. I just spent 20 minutes trying to find 2 pieces of the pattern that I already had. I think I went through every sheet about 5 times before I realized the air conditioner had kicked on and blown the 2 pieces off of my table into the floor. So the fabric that I only had a little bit of for the bodice is now pinned. I'm gonna be honest with you. It is complete anarchy. So here's my big piece. I was able to put that on correctly. And here's my other one. See how I like wedged it? Look how close. That's my main bodice piece. And as you can see, this is only 1 layer because it also flips and fits there. We'll find out if it bites me in the butt in a minute. Fingers crossed. My corset needs an interlining, not an interfacing, which is what I thought I needed. So I grabbed this like soft canvas I just had sitting around, and I think that's going to give it the right amount of structure that maybe the taffeta is not going to originally provide. I have the 2 layers of my corset constructed. I have the outside layer sewn together and looking all nice, and then I have my lining piece. I decided to interface all of this because this taffeta was just so like delicate, but then I ran out of interfacing, and because I'm not a patient person, I decided to just sew more of this canvas fabric into the back panel, which I feel like is probably better because the boning's longer back there and I think it needs more structure. This is ready to be sewn together. I have my corset completely lined. Putting in the lining was a very time-consuming process because of the thickness that I built up in this fabric. My machine got really tired really fast. I also used an edge stitch presser foot, which has this nice little plastic piece here, so I was able to go around the edge of the corset without too much trouble and without my line kind of wiggling. It is now time for me to cut all of these boning pieces and sew them in. I did it. It's really heavy. I had to shift the grommet holes over. I don't know if I just kind of sewed something wrong or if it's because I used a slightly wider boning than what's recommended. In the front, I actually added 2 pieces. It said I only needed 3, so I did 4 on each side. I am skipping a step. You're actually supposed to sew the sleeves to the corset, but I worked so hard on this, I want to be able to use it for other costumes. I'm gonna just kind of make sort of like a little half shirt that I can wear underneath. So now it's ready for grommets. I bought this pair of eyelet pliers. They were like 30 bucks and I have no regrets. Not only does it actually like put the eyelet in place, but it also cuts the holes for you. It makes this like perfect little hole, and I'm so excited about it. I'm gonna be using this Simplicity pattern. I got creative because it's a vintage kind of swimwear pattern and I'm making late 1700s undershorts. I actually picked two fabrics that are gonna layer over each other, and because it's not part of the original pattern, I'm using another pattern that I already owned. So I'm only cutting out the two short pieces out of my prettier lacy fabric. Not the waistband, not any of the inner workings for the buttons. Out of my cheaper muslin fabric, I'm gonna cut out everything. I'm gonna get started on these. This is how I pinned my shorts down. I laid my fabric out so it matches on the fold, so my pieces should kind of roughly line up. They don't have to be perfect. I made sure that none of my like edges where I'm gonna have to hem are super lacy because I felt like that would cause a problem. Please excuse the sound of my voice. I am dealing with allergies, which make me sound terribly sick. But on the bright side, I have on cute Halloween jammies. I'm gonna show you how my pattern lined up on the shorts. It's not perfect because I wasn't worried about perfect, but I think it turned out really cute. So it goes from ruffling to laced, just a little bit of the solid cotton at the bottom, so I have something to hem with. I've decided not to do 3 3/4 inch buttons as it tells me to, but these really cute metal ones. They have a, I don't know, slightly more historical vibe going on. I made a mistake and they were too small. Advice, try on the shorts. I was making a pattern size that was a little small for me. Not incredibly small, a little small. The cut and the structure of these shorts kind of gave me the idea that they're loose fitted. No. You see like these lines to kind of demonstrate how billowy? Not at all. I've opened them up on the sides. The waistband was actually correct. And I'm going to be adding 4-inch wide panels. I have 2 of them. They match the patterning. And then I'll finally get to go back to just adding the buttons, which was my last step. I lost a couple of days to being sick. I did finish my shorts. Got all my little metal buttons on there. The side insert doesn't look too bad. I was able to line my pattern up pretty well. My next step is to cut out the bustle. The way this pattern is arranged, your bustle is sewn to essentially like the apron part with these odd panels. I'm not doing that. Instead of closing off the front like they say, I'm going to just be adding like a tie, and I'm essentially going to wear it as like a butt apron. I might change my mind once I eventually find my red fabric, which I've still been on a mighty quest for. I have the bustle section cut out, and I have the 4 panels that I cut sewn together. I went ahead and I cut out my green underlayer that's not in the pattern. So what I'm basically going to do is sew the 2 pieces together and give it a waistband. I have to go to bed now because it's 3 a.m. and I have to work tomorrow. I have the bustle part of my skirt complete. I decided instead of doing the elastic waistband like they suggest, to do an actual proper waistband and just gather the skirt. I am now ready to cut out my front apron piece, and then that's going to stitch to the front beige section of my waistband, and I'm just gonna have a button. Unless something interesting happens, you will see me when it's done. I have a skirt. It still needs a buttonhole right here where I have 2 straight pins, but it's looking really good. If you are shorter than me and using this pattern, you're definitely gonna need to hem it because it's kind of pulling on the floor, but I know I'm gonna have heels on. My oven is beeping because I have pizza. I'm gonna cut out my shirt. This is a total Franken pattern at this point. This piece and this piece are actually the lining. They're shorter and they kind of stop at the waist, which works with the little bit of fabric that I purchased. I bought like a yard. And then I'm cutting out the sleeve. We're just kind of hoping for the best here. I've got the shirt all cut out and started. I've already put in one of the sleeves. It is 11:22 on October 30th, so it's crunch time to get Sarah Sanderson done. An hour later, I tried on all the pieces together and I'm gonna make adjustments. The point on the shirt was actually a lot lower than I thought, so I'm actually having to add a little triangle to make sure that I'm fully covered. I'm taking about 1.5 inches out of the waistband of the skirt, and then I'm actually separating the bustle from like the apron section, recovering this waistband because I don't like the beige, and I'm gonna try and give a little bit of overlap between the 2 pieces because I felt like it was a little too open. Next time you see me, I'm gonna put on the wig and do my makeup. It is 5:30 in the morning. I am going to pin up my hair. Not actually gonna put my wig on right away. I have to put my corset on before I put on my makeup, and I can't raise my arms in the shirt that I wear under the corset. My hair is pinned up. It's a little different than the way I've done it for like my princess wigs in the past. This just feels a little more secure. I'm gonna put on my wig cap the smart way that I always did wrong. To put it on like a necklace. A lot easier than the way I used to do it. Corset and shirt are on. Now it is time to make this face look more like that face. Eye makeup is done. I added a little navy and a little purple, a heck ton of eyeliner, and very dark eyebrows. I think it worked out. And now it is just time to put on the wig, which has not been brushed, so don't judge me. Oh yeah, that's good. Look, it's Avery. Hello. I have lots of Sarah pictures. We shot at a cemetery that actually said Salem Cemetery on the sign. At some weird old like hut type building that kind of looked like the Sanderson house. And then just like this kind of like neighborhood with a bunch of, I don't know, rich people neighborhood. Really pretty. So I'm very happy. I'm gonna be Barbie later because you can't have Halloween without two separate costumes. Thank you for being here and joining me. I hope that my Sarah costume creating inspires you, helps you make decisions on yours. I will see you next time. Have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.